We have begun recording, Peter. What a nice change of pace. I'm looking into your eyes.
I'm hearing how fucked up your voice is, and
Yeah.
I'm thinking if this is going to get me sick again. I may have made a terrible mistake driving an hour and some change south, hot on the heels of level 3 snow emergencies.
I know you really had to want it to come to Fair Cincinnati. Although I don't think like Franklin County did that much better. You were under
We
level
got
3
pounded.
too.
I know, so I've driven through multiple war zones of snow. I mean, it's not as terrible as far as Cleveland goes, but for Columbus, it was some real 1159 windswept, high drift hells. But I got a good workout cleaning up my driveway so I could get out here with my notebook full of Star Trek nonsense.
Yes, I mean, you're here for a multitude of reasons, but we took the opportunity of you coming down to Cincinnati for us not only to record in person, something I think we've done like 3 times ever, but because we did Threshold,
Yes.
we did a couple other episodes here and there, but I don't think we've ever done a rip
No.
in person.
No.
And boy, howdy, what a
season to do it for.
yeah, season 3 of Deep Space Nine. I did a fair amount of looking back, a little bit of research, really trying to dig deep to come up with good answers for our suite of awards that we give. And I just like forgot how good some of the shit that was like to us nearly 6 months ago that we watched was. Like, oh yeah, House of Quark was like the 3rd episode of the season.
Fucking rocked. I went through and I listened to every one of our episodes for this season.
Wow. You don't always do that, actually.
Well, I don't do as much flying and traveling as I have been, so I had plenty of time for it. And what a great season.
Yeah.
High highs, sparse lows, a lot of respect to the audience from the writer's room.
I mean, we said from the beginning, this is the show demonstrating a level of creative arrogance that is kind of stunning when you think about it. There is more continuity in the first, 12 episodes of this season than the entirety of the run of Voyager.
12? First 3. First, what do we got? We got The Search, House of Quark, and then Equilibrium. Yeah, first 3. It is
Equilibrium, which was ass. Like, what were we even going to say? Like, there was still continuity there.
the contrast between Deep Space Nine and Voyager is purely intentional through and through. Deep Space Nine establishing what a meta plot can look like, self-referential gameplay, and character growth, ensemble cast. Voyager very clearly made as a antithesis product to try to recapture, TNG optimism, but to really just not be Deep Space Nine. And maybe when we get around to watching What We Left Behind, the Deep Space Nine documentary, they'll talk about Voyager a little bit, or what the criticisms towards Deep Space Nine were. But there was, I think, very clearly a concentrated effort on behalf of the Star Trek production company to have an opposing product, maybe to catch people that had been disenfranchised by Deep Space Nine and how dark it was, and they wanted something more accessible and light. But I don't want accessible and light.
I want dark and in the weeds and nerdy to that degree where we're really capturing the details that you live for if you love a fictional universe.
Have you watched Dark yet? Have we talked about this at all?
Watched Dark?
Dark is this show on Netflix. It's German.
No, never heard of it.
I'm going to have to plug it on normal episodes. But I've been watching it with the German audio track and the English subtitles, and it is so good, and it is so busy and crazy. I told my wife, go to Michael's and get this folding project board or whatever, and we're going to make a character map with the Pepe Silva.
I need to track what's going on.
I forgot to print the pictures of people at work, and in the process I found someone had made a spoiler-free graphic, and I just printed that off and said, but pausing a TV show to pull a piece of paper out to try and reference who's dad or who these characters are has been such a fun interactive process for her and I. And it's what I feel watching Deep Space Nine with you, that, I'm going and I'm referencing notes and I'm very carefully using the memory alpha and some of these other things because the story is that involved. And it's not complicated for the sake of just being complicated needlessly. Like, it's just a big story and it's an exciting story.
Yeah.
And a fun story.
An ambitious story, too.
Yes.
Like, we're going to talk a lot, I think, about Odo, because in a lot of ways I feel like this was his season,
Yep.
And I've said it before, I'll say it again, because this is kind of where we're wrapping up the discussion where this started. Your insight about him has added a lot to my rewatch.
It's that psychology degree.
It is. It is. Like, thinking about Odo as a child that is, like, throws people off because of his sophistication and seeming maturity and capability, but is still newborn into the idea of being a person in a fundamental way, and how that is really at the core of this entire season. It really is bookended with him in the search, finding his people, and then in the adversary, rejecting them violently.
The search and adversary are such good opens and closes to this season. And as I sat there listening to the search driving down here, talking about this sand trap is what I called it at the time, of paranoia that a doppelganger conspiracy would bring to Star Trek. And not just shapeshifters, but, VR or holodeck, psychological traps, and all the things that are accessible to the superpowers in the Alpha Quadrant to trap people in these fantasy situations for interrogations. And then the founder threat, which is just flat out mimicry, that you can't go near these subjects without focusing on them. Otherwise, it's a disservice to the audience. Anybody who plays D&D and has their first time around a shapeshifter knows, like, oh man, like, how do you reconcile that in your mind as someone who goes out? And anytime you encounter something weird, be like, is this what I think it is? Is this really the mayor sending me on a kooky mission? Or is it literally the adversary? Is this diplomat going to try and cause a war to further the founder agenda? And to pose in the beginning of the season, like, you can't just poke this with a stick. You need to take it with both hands and turn that into the identity of the show. And adversary just closing on this note of, like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
They could be everywhere, and just one of them brought us to our knees, basically, on this ship.
It was even the first time you knew it happened. Because, like we talked about when we reviewed it, Garrick and Odo were already aware that the two most sophisticated clandestine agencies in the entire Alpha Quadrant had already been infiltrated and essentially rolled by this game. And really, like, if you're the Federation and you see that, you've just got to feel like, oh, we're fucked.
We're soft.
Yeah, like, we're bad at that. Like, that's what we're bad at. We're good at being the honest good guys.
You can always guess our passwords.
Yes. They are password 3. All of them.
So you've got this great story as Deep Space Nine shifts into a Dominion/Founder focus, as introduced by your first episode of the season and really reinforced by the last. And you've just got a ton of bangers between.
Yeah, and I do want to open with best episodes because I found it interesting looking at our lists. We have only one crossover, like one that we both picked. And there are a ton of things that I would say we both agreed were good to great that are not on our lists at all.
I had, just for the record, my great category. And again, I go trash, bad, meh, good, and great. And for my great, I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think that's the most greats I've ever had in a season across any of the stuff we've watched. And granted, when you're dealing with Enterprise,
Yeah.
Voyager, and Picard, it's not hard to do, but still very impressive. There's nothing you put on your list that I can disagree with.
Same with yours, to be honest. Like, so let's go through it. Go ahead and start with yours.
First and foremost, The Search Part 2. And driving down here, I actually swapped it out for my honorable mention because I forgot just how much great content they packed into The Search, so much that we actually did it as a 2-part episode just for Part 2. They cover so much ground, so much cool stuff happens. You've got 2 very compelling stories with the A plot, B plot between Odo discovering the changeling race, and then everybody who's trapped in VR, and then the escape from there and what that means for the rest of the season.
Never forget that even in VR, Garrick is a little too OP for everybody.
Don't worry, he'll that character will be talked about more. The DS cast. And, both of these that I've picked so far, they're 2-parters, right?
Yeah.
And it's hard to say what's one episode versus the other one.
I think in both of these cases, Part 2 is stronger. Even in the one, there's another 2-parter in the season where I think also the second part is the strongest part for Future Tense.
The Garrick store bombing was great. But the stuff that comes after with the attack on the changeling rogue planet is just too strong and too powerful that it muscles out the what was the first one before DS cast is
Improbable Cause.
The DS cast is just 4-dimensional chess. I mean, that's Game of Thrones level shit going on back in '95.
Yeah.
Very just mind-blowing writing for that time. I can only imagine what it would have been like to be at home sitting on your couch watching 2016 writing coming through your TV in '94.
I mean, you're talking about a circumstance where you had one protagonist torturing another.
Mm-hmm.
And you made it work.
Yep.
You make it so that at the end, they're actually better friends for what has happened. And you did that on Star Trek, a show not necessarily known for...
Star Trek's known for its torture.
But it's not known for having your protagonists engage in that kind of behavior.
Anti-hero Garrick, yeah. And that's just one of the many layers of that episode. All the stuff with Elam Garrick, or
Inebrian
Tane, which the relationship there, just no fat on that episode at all. It's just lean and excellent the whole way through.
And it's just the line, "The fault, dear Tane, is not in our stars but ourselves," is so perfectly placed in the episode.
My third spot's civil defense, and how couldn't it be?
Yeah, shocker. This is the one we share on our lists.
It is
at number 3, both of us.
Too good. It is funny. It is provocative. It's intense. You're using Jake Sisko to great impact. You get surprise Ducat.
You do.
Kira gets to show her ass. I mean, I'll let you gush on it.
Garrick, gets to say the most ignorant shit possible. It is an unintentional comedy in the best way, in the sense that I don't think they intended it for it to be a comedy, but when it was coming together, I think they realized it was.
And it's just such a great showcase piece for the Cardassians as a culture.
Yeah.
You could take some notes, Trill episodes. This is the right way to do an expose on culture and civilization. Honorable mention for me was Visionary. What a preposterous episode. What a fun episode.
Yeah, you had a lot of fun with the whole,
how do you know?
The prophets are clearly involved because it's the only way to describe why Miles Edward O'Brien happened to be hit with temporal disjunction juice.
Prince of Persia.
Yeah. He's the sands of time.
And just the complete lack of scruples as the Deep Sheets 9 crew figures out that they can hack time and they just abuse it right off the rip.
Yes.
And the gratuitous deaths. And then, there's all the deep stuff like Klingon Intelligence Agency. and Romulans being the adult in the room and saying, hey, the Cardassians right, this wormhole's a fucking problem, and
Needs
we're
to
going to
go.
close it up. And it's going to cause a war with the Federation, probably, but let's be real here, guys. Stuff that the Federation should be saying to itself. And I think the only reason they haven't gotten rid of it for some reason is because they want Bajor in.
Well, no, I think they also have a philosophical problem with the fact now they know they're aliens in it. And it's like, okay, now I'm blocked by my ethics.
And, Federation morals of just like, we can work it out with the Dominion, maybe. Maybe it doesn't have to be a war. Maybe. Great, lots of great stuff all over the place. And I feel very secure in those top three. Where'd you differ with me?
All right, my number one with a bullet is Second Skin. I think I went pretty deep in our discussion about how well this episode works, not just as a dramatic piece of Kira gets stolen, gets turned into this Cardassian, and, starts to be gaslit heavily that she's secretly this, spy, and it's actually just a plot to try and draw out a potential traitor that is on, their Cardassian, High Council, essentially. But that it's also a masterclass in direction and cinematography in a standard definition network syndicated television show. The whole 15 minutes I went on in the episode itself, and I went back and I listened to this one too, about how the way they framed their shots differently depending on if you were seeing it from Leggett Damore's perspective or from Kira's perspective. It was just like, you didn't need to do that, but you did it because you cared about what you were fucking doing. And that whole episode is every single person, every actor, every person, below the line saying, I'm caring about the story today. I'm caring about how it's being told, and I am caring about what it means to the characters involved. And maybe it's because I'm a sucker for Kira has an experience with a Cardassian that fundamentally changes her perspective, because obviously you love Duet too.
Sure, yeah.
But Second Skin to me is top notch for the season.
It's just
as a dramatic piece.
Entire misdirection on that, because you watch and go, okay, I know what this episode is.
It's a great Garrick episode too.
Surprise
shows
Garrick,
up and blasts
But
Obsidian Order agents.
Hey, we captured you. Go right back to what I just said. Anybody who's got access to a holodeck or some sort of VR trap, you've got Kira Nerys, you're going to make her live this fantasy. Who knows what's going on? In reality, it's all after this, one-time use, special guest star, and she's just a part of a bigger plan. I love that misdirection, and that's very Deep Space Nine of the whole thing. Another Kira Nerys coming up here.
Yeah, so Heart of Stone is my number 2. This is certainly more an Odo episode than anything, because Kira's not actually Kira for most of it. But if you want to encapsulate I got something way more out of this because I realized Odo's a child, it's this episode. And the fact that it is framed around the fact that this is just the female changeling fucking with Odo to try and understand him better.
Yep.
Because as we have started to pontificate, is the whole of the Dominion War just the changelings trying to win an argument with Odo, and to get him to join them willingly. And how do you do that if you don't understand that his love for a woman that he clearly has feelings for but can't seem to express? I remember watching this and not thinking much of it the first time around, and the second time I couldn't stop thinking about what it meant to the story. And it's a little ship in a bottle, of course, because he gets to the end and he backs off of admitting to Kira how he feels. And it was a reminder of this love story really does go on for 6 years before it pays off. I can't believe it, because it started in season 2.
What a way to frame a bottle episode, though, is where you never see the influence of that episode in terms of spoken words or things sitting on people's tables, but the emotional journey or whatever the lesson learned in that episode, you can absolutely see.
It affects Odo. It affects the female changeling. It's not that it's not a continuity episode. Yeah, Debbie
Queen
Dopapopoulos.
Debbie Dopapopoulos.
It's not an episode where like the shit comes up like the same way like the Dias cast does, but it is definitely like this isn't lost in the sauce. Like this, all of that mattered, and just as a dramatic, as an Odo episode in the Odo season, I think it was the best one. Third is Civil Defense, same as you. Comedy, action, red shirt getting obliterated by replicated phasers, OSHA violations left and right, exploding rocks, hallways of death, Jake being a G, O'Brien suffering, Ducat showing up, being an asshole, hitting hard on Kira, Garrick calling out to Ducat as hitting on Kira and laying down just the worst insults he can. Really just the most enjoyable romp of an episode of Star Trek I think we've watched and reviewed together. Like it's pure just entertainment that is still very much like in its element. I love Bride of Chaotica, but that is my favorite comedy episode upon the rewatch. And then I had Improbable Cause Dias cast as my joint honorable mention. It's just a great pair of episodes. Brings together Odo and Garrick, which is not like a combo we've seen much of, in a way that's very cool and leads to a lot for both of them. And I'll never forget like that ending spot where Garrick has to watch Odo make the moral choice he refused.
Yes.
And that it changes him to see that.
How much time did they spend on that script? It feels like a year. Like there was just like movie worth of like.
And they banged it out. It wasn't even intended to write that episode.
Oh, well, listen, man. The muse speaks. She speaks loud.
So here is a list of episodes I came up with that I presumed, you can tell me if I was right or not, you would have ranked as least good, if not great, that are on neither of our lists. All right? Mm-hmm. House of Quark, Defiant, Life Support, Destiny, Through the Looking Glass, Family Business, The Adversary.
Yep.
Like, that is 7 episodes that are probably easily top 3 material in every other season of Star Trek we have ever watched that are not on either of our lists, which themselves are not exclusive, not the same.
I would have cut even my left nut to get any of that quality anywhere whatsoever in Voyager or Enterprise. And again, they're saying the Dominion War is where Deep Space Nine gets good. Fire all over the place in this season 3.
There was some misses though. To be honest, I can start with the bottom 3. You ready?
What? Let's see what.
There's a thread, maybe.
What
Common
slug-shaped thread might be.
Common element, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Number 1, circle it, put a star next to it, and shoot it out of a cannon. It was Meridian. And that is the TNG script that somehow just like someone found in a drawer, shot it as a DS9 episode when they go to the planet with the hunky guy, or like phases out of reality. It's like some Dr. Crusher plot, like straight up. Instead, they gave it to Dax.
I thought they said it was a Troy episode.
Or whatever. One of the broads from TNG, obviously, should have been the focus of that one. It's not a DS9 episode. It doesn't make any fucking sense.
No,
it doesn't belong. It doesn't make sense.
If this wasn't such a shit episode that I was happy to forget existed, it would have been a contender for my weakest shit award.
Yeah,
that just relocating the population off of the planet on the Defiant, or that the fact they didn't get there in a runabout to prevent that from happening. The lack of Dominion involvement in any of this. Like, what's this Dominion? We never heard of that before. Okay, well, we know 60 years ago the Dominion were here. Oh, man, the Dominion have greatly changed.
You couldn't have yet tied in the plot somehow to make this worthwhile? No. It's just ass. Mm-hmm. It's pointless, and it does nothing for Dax's character at all.
And it did nothing for poor Jonathan Frakes, who got stuck with this turd.
Yeah.
What was LeVar Burton too busy
Number 2, Equilibrium. This is the Dax goes home because she's having weird problems with her slug. She's having visions of some person she doesn't know. It's the whole oops, we put him in a serial killer plot.
Your line on that of when I go to murder people, quick, where's my Liberace robe? If you're gonna murder someone, Jadzia, you have to do it with flair.
I gotta look as much like a 70s pop star as possible. Channel your inner Elton John. I've got more to say about that episode, but I'll actually wait until later. And then third, Fascination. This is our attempt to do Shakespeare comedy by way of Deep Space Nine, as I said at the time. Not a good combination. Felt like a discount version of The Naked Now. And that you're like, oh, I want just an excuse for making all of my characters be horny with each other. That was okay in the 60s, but even by the time they did it in TNG Season 1, it was cringe. And by the time it's 1995, it's like, no, I'm not interested in this. None of this is interesting to me. You'd actively make me hate Belial more than I already did.
Yeah.
Aside from some weird Circus Soleil, shit going on in the background that was somewhat interesting to comment on.
You just showed me that you can take Luxana Troy and you can tell good episodes.
And then you do this.
Interact with characters on Deep Space Nine in a meaningful capacity that adds value. And then you're going to bring her in for this fucking clown show.
Yeah. Because she's got menopause. Great.
Awful.
Dishonorable mentions, I have 2.
Which one was
Caretaker.
What?
We reviewed Voyager Season 1, Episode 1. So it is worth bringing up that we did that as part of the season. You said something, and it's true. If Voyager, I'm glad it existed, if for one reason. It got all of the fucking turgid, crappy, worn out writing talent that wanted to make the fucking network TV bucks out of Deep Space Nine's hair. Pillar left. Jerry Taylor was never there. All of the problem children went to Voyager. And that meant that Deep Space Nine wound up with the young bucks who came up mid-TNG and stayed with what it is they loved to begin with.
Voyager was a pool filter, and it caught all the scum.
It did. It caught all the people who were there from the beginning of TNG who wanted to cash in.
Mm-hmm.
And it's in a lot of, it's like Terry Metalis or the guy who did Season 4 of Enterprise. Like, guys who wanted to be doing what they were doing did it, and they did it better than everyone else.
Speaking of profit motives.
By the way, my other dishonorable mention, since obviously I don't want to count a Voyager episode, Distant Voices, Herman's Head, never great, but I think you've got more to say about that.
Yeah, for me, number 1, Distant Voices.
Yeah, you hated it more than me, for sure. For sure.
It was a shit episode when I watched it, as we sat there and talked about it and came up with better ways to do it. The episode just got worse and worse, because it could have been pretty cool. Make the alien actively assaulting him from outside by projecting into his brain and fighting him. Make all of the people that he is manifesting his own qualities into be noble and chivalrous instead of bad caricatures that didn't fit correctly. Have them slowly sacrifice themselves to keep the alien away from him as he watches parts of himself die and strengthen his resolve.
I give it a little bit more credit just because of the line I took when we reviewed it, which is if you think about it in the context of him being enhanced, genetically altered, some of it makes a little bit more sense. It's kind of that retcon that worked really well.
I think the retcon does not work at all. And the crux of the entire argument being, I wanted to be a fucking tennis player, but my parents weren't cool with that, and that's why I became a doctor. Awful. Fuck Distant Voices. Fuck Facets.
I'm a little surprised that ranked above Meridian and Equilibrium for you. That somehow Facets, which I agree is not good, but I don't think it's like offensive in the same way. So like every other episode between our lists, I think is far worse than Facets by a mile.
Facets is yet another failed Jedzia Dax episode.
Indeed,
and
it is
in fact,
that.
it is a Dax episode, if anything. There's a cool part in there where Avery Brooks gets to beat himself up and then get beat up. But really, the disservice to the Star Trek lore and canon that Trill can just live forever, partitioned in these slugs, and they can keep thoughts away from the host, that they can essentially escape the Trill and go live on in perpetuity elsewhere. That was all ridiculous, but just the Jadzia Dax lack of agency and bad episode curse culminating in her big conflict, which is why was I not good enough to stay in the program when I was dismissed, all boiling down to Curzon Dax having a crush on her.
Yeah, it is gross. I cannot disagree that it's a bad episode and that it is the ending that makes it truly worthy of being on the list.
Offensive, man.
It is in this circumstance, my disagreement on both of these is merely in order of operations. I think Distant Voices, Fascination, Equilibrium, and Meridian are worse than those two, but they would be the next two down the list.
My number 3 pick is Shakar.
That was definitely a surprise to me. I thought I was aggressively medium.
It was just bad across the board in it. Again, we already had this character, and I get that you made a mistake and you have to fix it and you're trying to bring it back. I think there were other ways to do it than rehashing the farmer versus the government story, which we already did. The ridiculous conflict being that they needed these soil reclamators, this technological doodad that the Federation can't just mass produce.
Without an ounce of spackle to explain why it can't.
Exactly. And that the economy of woe on Bajor, we don't have enough food, we need to farm for ourselves. Get the fucking replimats going there. And I'm sure there's a dozen other things that just piss me off about the episode, but just...
It is unworthy of the list for two reasons, from my opinion. One, Kai Wynn. Fantastic Kai Wynn content.
Yeah, that was good.
She is a total cunt. Like, solid gold. Asshole. To, like, you want to make sure you know she's the villain of the show. That episode will tell you that. And two, I loved her terrorist buddies, like, drinking or hanging out scene. where you hear, like, I didn't get a replicated arm because I felt like...
Shakar is an example of an episode that is terrible because it should have been phenomenal, and it had to drag its great parts into the shitter because the bad parts, to me, were so egregious. But, yeah, there's a ton of good parts in there. I mean, it's like Dear Doctor, right? There's some really cool stuff in there, and there's just...
one
god-awful
choice.
There's more than just one in this one. Shout out to Profit Motives, which
is your dishonorable mention. Yeah,
first bad Ferengi nonsense episode, and
I think Quark negotiating of the Prophets lifts it out of the true sewer. But I would agree, it is the worst of the Ferengi episodes we've seen so far.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we have an ongoing question that we've been asking ourselves, Peter. We've been asking ourselves this at the end of each season. We'll continue to ask this question. Who is the main character of Deep Space Nine?
Well, it's going to tie into our other question, which is best main character. And in this case, we have matches. So you go first.
So, to me, the answer to this question is going to essentially be different every season, and I think that's the magic. And this season, it was Odo. Odo was the main character of Deep Space Nine. The plot really had everything to do with him. What he discovered at the beginning, the choices he made as a consequence of that, from what he did in Heart of Stone, what he did in the Dias Cast, and really ultimately what he chooses to do in The Adversary. and how all of those choices have fundamental impacts on the fate of the Alpha Quadrant without him necessarily knowing that that's going to be the case.
And I mean, he gets some really great, juicy roles and chances to shine against Heart of Stone.
Oh, yeah.
Really gets to act past the makeup. And, we've said it before that Renee doesn't get the shout outs that Patrick
he doesn't get the
Stewart's
laurels
gets.
that a lot of, like, the A-plus track actors get. Like, Patrick Stewart obviously is seen as the top of the mountain as track actors go. But, like, Renee is just as good a lot of the time.
It's the Trip Tucker conundrum. He's not shouting people down. He's not throwing the book at people in court. He's not hitting those big barking scenes.
He's also not the captain, which does matter. He's not the central authority figure, and that really helps you be the main character. Like,
True.
because everything does orbit around you a little bit. And that's the same with Trip, too, which is like the most charming and interesting character on Enterprise is unfortunately not the captain. And it holds back the show and him. And the same, but I feel like this show actually does a better job of, like, maximizing its use of him. It respects him, and it is interested in his character, which I think is something worth pointing out. Who's the main character of DS9 for you?
The best main character and main character I would say for this season, for me, unfortunately, distant voices aside, is Julian Bashir.
No kidding.
Bashir does the most growing, I think, this season.
Yeah.
He starts to hit this moral high ground that we see reinforced several times with
Life support, I think most
yes.
obviously.
He tangled with Nabrium Tain last season, right?
He did. That was a season 2 episode.
So that's a further reinforcement of him not afraid to start butting heads with people. What really put him on this list for me is that conversation between him and O'Brien about media and the Federation.
Yes.
Backsliding and just rehashing alien plays and putting a human twist on it.
Yeah, they're just doing remakes and reboots instead of creating new content.
I was going to go with Quark initially because I really like Quark's perspective as someone who is outside of Starfleet and just the viewpoints that you're able to see on what's happening in the space around it. And I think that Bashir is able to capture that same thing because he's still Starfleet, but the guy speaks outside of his rank. He is not, he doesn't have career buy-in.
Yeah.
And ultimately, he doesn't care. So a lot of real cool stuff going on with him. A lot of hard flexes, a lot of vulnerability. Life support. Real great example for him on what he is willing to do and not do as a physician and greater. And just guy's he's got such a sassy attitude too. Like he lights the scenes up that he's in. So
I mean, the guy ended up being one of the most successful in terms of their career of people who came out of Trek. When you think about Siddig Al-Faisal's career.
absolutely.
Yeah, like, what did you say when we were watching
Prophecy.
Prophecy?
The baton was passed at the craft service table.
Yeah, like the guy who was the Arab guy and everything was like, hold on, man, I'm getting old. You need to handle this for me. My runner-up was for best main character was Garrick. Like, he's amazing in a lot of episodes this season. It's a surprising amount. He has a lot of interesting growth in those episodes. He's
Riveting
funny.
growth.
He's interesting. He's fun every time he shows up. And to me, though, I still ranked Odo above him because I know what's in the future for him and, like, how much more he has to give to the story. And, like, he's going to have his moment of being the main character on Deep Space Nine soon enough.
Is not main cast. He's not a one-shot.
He's main cast. And this is I think the discussion we've had. He is treated like a main cast member by the writers.
But he's not in the sheer volume of episodes to really give him a fair shot at being a best character of a season or the main character of a season.
I think here's close.
Here's what he is. He is super OP DLC.
He's that character you get in the DLC who unbalances the main game.
Unbalances it just completely and ridiculously.
It's like playing Fallout 3 and then doing the DLC where you get the ray guns.
Like,
and you're like, just roll the rest of the game.
Anything he is in, he is going to unbalance and just make him. He's too good. He didn't get put in any of the bad parts at all. I can't give you a single scene that, fucking Distant Voices, yet again, the only stain on Garrick's record.
But it's not even him.
I know, but
he's in The Search Part 2, and he's amazing.
He's exempt from this question, along with Gul Dukat, because they are excellent 100% of the time, and it's just cheating.
It is.
It's just fan service cheating.
I got a much easier question, though. Mm-hmm. Who's the worst character of the season, and why is it Dax? That poor woman, Terry Farrell. She got stuck with a real shit bag of episodes pointed at her. Like Blood Oath over 3 seasons is the only one where I can say that was pretty good.
It wasn't when we watched it, and it's only become good because all of the
I liked
other
it,
stuff,
but you were like I still enjoyed it on rewatch.
I am less critical towards it because I've seen what has come after it, and it has only gotten worse and worse. She cannot catch a break. She is excellent when paired with Kira Nerys, which did not happen at all this season.
She's excellent when she's just a side character to other people's stories. Mm-hmm. When she gets to show up, do her science thing, be a sort of trickster imp, mischievous, kind of, which is a very different vibe for a Starfleet officer and makes sense for her character because she's this ancient semi-eternal being, so she just doesn't fucking care. In the same way, like a more limited career-focused officer would. She's got this unique best friend relationship with her commanding officer that just lets her get away with highway robbery. Like, that all's great. And then they try to tell stories about her, and they never give her agency in her own stories.
Never. Is it the lack of a feminine voice in the writer's room that is hamstringing this character?
And it's not a problem for Kira, because they write Kira like a man. Mm-hmm. Like, flat out. Not to say, like, her being a woman doesn't factor into the story, but they write her like a man in the sense that you could see someone playing Kira as a male character, and it works 85%. Mm-hmm.
Whereas Jadzia has very
feminine traits.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like nobody in the writer's room, she's nobody's favorite, and it shows.
Yeah.
And they still give her episodes, and they just feel like phoned-in shit episodes that they, in the case of Meridian, found at the back of the drawer and said, okay, Control F, Troy, replace all instances of
still
Troy
3 letters, right? Dax, Troy.
And there you go.
It's not Terry Farrell's fault. It's not like she's Harry Kim, right? Like, she's not a bad character. She's not even badly written all the time.
She's not, well, if we're invoking Kim, she's not a bad character. And also, she is not a bad actor. Like Garrett.
Right. So, things do turn around for her. As constantly said, she gets way better when she gets a boyfriend.
Like she's been getting worse, too, because I think about her last season. Her
Season 1 was really rough. You forget Season 1 Dax was like...
Well, Season 2, she had the thing where the guy came out and had to, go through his shadowing with her or whatever. And she's, banging the wrestling coach and other stuff. And it's like, she seemed like a compelling... That story was kind of a turkey, the proto-universe, and he's a pilot, or that story itself stunk, but her portrayal in it was still strong. Versus this, just anytime you've got both eyes on her, man, it's gruesome. But yeah, when she's just in the wings or acting as a side character in a bigger scene, it's great.
Who gave Sisko the best run for his money? We had 2 very different approaches to this question, which I like. So I think the traditional route of thinking of who gave Sisko the rest run of his money, physically. Bad season to be thinking about that, because this is the season of Sisko really coming into his own as the Streets of Rage protagonist that we knew him to be. It is only the rando hobos and past tense that he holds back against so as not to ruin the space-time continuum that seem to give him any trouble whatsoever, because he 5v1s the Jem'Hadar in the search. He solos the entirety of the mirror universe. Both he literally Conan the barbarians them. He slaughters their men and hears the lamentations of their women.
His contract, Avery Brooks' contract, is that I will not lose a fight.
Yes, which unironically, by the way, is what Michael Dorn demanded for season 4. Is I don't want to get jabronied all the time.
This guy was fucking due. All right. Worf has had to eat a lot of shit.
He did, and he was done eating it. But yeah, not much stood up to him. But you had a better answer for this.
Originally, this who gave Sisko the best run for the money was invented for like Kywin and people who go and the plantation owner and some of these other characters who could go into a scene with Avery Brooks and
compete
and foil him and really just act up to his intensity and stuff. I don't think he really had any big shout down moments in this season, but his hardship, his nemesis, but really his big dilemma for me in this one was Bajoran prophecy, as exemplified in, what was it, Destiny?
Correct.
Him having to face, not only do I care about the Bajoran people, not only do I care about the security of the Alpha Quadrant and all the other things that come with me being in charge of Deep Space Nine on top of the wormhole, but this obligation that I now have that I am Bajoran's Jesus.
And it's true.
And it's true. And these prophecies, and that there is, this isn't just something that happened yesterday. People have been anticipating this for centuries, and that this quantum leap of a deity that lives inside of the wormhole, them not experiencing time in a linear fashion, and them making actions centuries ago to influence the events of today by way of these prophecies, and how have the prophecies been interpreted and changed. And
Kira laying that logic down to say, you know what, let me give you the Starfleet explanation for why you need to accept that all of this is true. The most religious person on the show, right, then goes to him with like the irreligious explanation.
Yep.
You know they're real. You've talked to them. They don't experience time in linear fashion. Well, of course they could do. That is 100% within their power to do everything we're talking about right now.
Tying into this too, also, maybe the person that gave Sisko the best run for his money is Odo, because Odo's the one who calls him on it and says, "You're going to have to face what you want to ignore, and it's that you have this role as the prophet, and you're going to have to come to terms with how you're going to handle that as a Starfleet officer. How are you going to marry these two things? What degree are you going to give these prophecies credence, and how do you move forward through these dilemmas involving the Bajoran people with it?" So
I would agree that prophecy as a principle gives him the run for the money. Although, since you mentioned it, shout out again to Kai Wynn, who probably is once again the closest thing to a competitor, because they get into two major conflicts, both in life support and in Shakar. Where they are once again maneuvering with and against each other in a way that is an ongoing concern.
In life support, Kai Wynn completely shithoused Sisko. She knew what she would have to say to him to make him shut up and impale himself on his own morals and agenda. And
give him a run for the money. Actually beat him.
She beat the shit out of him. She beat the shit out of Kira. She beat the shit out of Beretic,
Bareil.
Yeah. So that was a no contest for her.
Not Julian Bashir though. Julian Bashir came calling. She had nothing for him.
She had two middle fingers. She's like, "Fuck you! Put this motherfucker back together and get him on the clock. Get the smelling salts out. My agenda needs seen."
Best fight. What's your best fight of the season?
I went with the adversary. No changeling has ever killed another changeling or harmed another changeling. Up until the point where Odo choke slams another changeling onto an unshielded warp core and made the guy die from cancer in a matter of minutes.
Not the most technically adept fight scene of the season, but I would agree the one with, shall we say, the most gruesome ending.
Not every day you get to watch someone get body slammed into the unshielded.
I thought about this. I had two.
That was what do they call those? Stage fatality.
Yes, it was given that uppercut into the pit with all of the spikes in it. But you can fight Reptile at the bottom of that pit.
Well, this guy was fighting cancer.
Yes. I had two options here. One, I was going to pick the space fight at the end of the Dias cast, because it was the most visually complex space fight at that point in Star Trek history.
Yeah, that was dope.
But I know there are things so much bigger and better than that to come that I didn't pick it. The actual physical fight scene in The Search Part 1, memes aside, very good. Sisko, O'Brien, not Seska, all dealing on the bridge. Kira getting to deal. They did some fucking stunt work for that one, and they took it seriously. It looked good.
It's funny, too, because we, during the search, specifically call out, or I did, I said, do you think that the Defiant has CCTV?
And it does.
And you said no, and I said I agree, because it's a Spartan craft, and it's and there was that episode that gets referenced in the fucking Baby Jem'Hadar episode. We're like, watch this video clip of a fist fight with your people that we recorded on the bridge via CCTV.
Oh, now I know what violence looks like.
Yes.
Thank you, Father. It didn't work out so well. Yeah. Damn. Best plot spackle. I would like to go first here.
This was a great. This is a great one. I need to start keeping this in mind as we're doing notes on the episode, because I really dig in and try and remember.
To me, there will possibly be never a better plot spackle moment than a meta in-character plot spackle. And in Defiant, that whole scene where fucking Benjamin Sisko has to explain flagship-level shenanigans to Gul Dukat. Hey, Gul Dukat, I'm going to invite you to Deep Space Nine, which already never happens. I'm going to sit you down for a briefing where I'm going to tell you...
While you're drinking, by the way.
Yeah, I'm going to bring you alcohol. And I'm going to tell you the most top secret Enterprise D shit you have ever heard. Because I need to provide you the plot spackle as to why I'm about to tell you that my experimental gunship with a cloaking device is gone.
How'd the Maquis get this?
It's a funny story. You're never going to believe it.
Here, watch this episode of TNG.
Yeah, real quick. It's
watch this CCTV footage from the Enterprise.
That was in character plot spackle.
Yeah.
And I don't think you're ever going to pull that trick ever again. So there was great spackle in a lot of different episodes, but that will never be topped, in my opinion. What'd you pick?
We didn't call it out at the time, but just life support as a whole episode.
Well explained, yeah.
The antithesis of a Ramrod episode. You want a episode where Bareil dies and Kira Nerys is left with this grieving process, right? And you, through this episode, have created this situation where every single barrier to Bareil dying is dissolved. And it is just a slip and slide of this guy ruining himself willingly, while the entire main cast stand by and watches, and it's only Julian Bashir who's lodging complaints, because Kywin is able to work this religious angle where it's Bareil's choice. It's consensual. Him surviving the issue in the first place was a miracle. The prophets will it. So Kira Nerys, you can shut up because your boyfriend is actively trying to do this, and it is for the peace between Cardassia and Bajor, which is a big deal, and that makes Sisko shut up, and just every part of this where people should be pumping the brakes, it can't happen. There's something wedged under there, and it's true to their core. So just
And the sci-fi parts of it work too.
Yes, absolutely. Just an
Him
script.
slowly but surely losing every part of himself until finally even Bashir is like, this is stopping. I'm not doing this anymore because someone has to say no.
So, there's probably better examples of on-the-spot spackle, but just this entire episode works. There's zero ask from the viewership, and there's zero suspension of disbelief.
Yeah.
Every base is covered impeccably, and it's perfect spackle.
Best recurring character. So here are the options. Again, we typically exclude Garrick and Gul Dukat, otherwise they'll win it every time. They are Nog, Rom, Kai Wynn, Vedic Barile, Nagus Zek, Jake, Keiko, Nebrian Tane, Grilka, Leggett Gamor, the female changeling, Devi Bapapopoulos, any of the mirror people, Moogie, and Brunt, which is a fucking lot, right?
It's huge.
All of these are recurring
Persona?
characters. Yeah, all of these are recurring characters that show up in season 3 that have other appearances in the show. And all of these characters have additional appearances in the future, specifically. Now, one of these is done, including Vedic Barile, by the way, which I know will stun you, but because he died, but they find a way. So with all of that in mind, my answer, because I love Nurture Ratchet, is Kai Wynn. She really separated herself from the pack when it comes to, like, she is a villain, right? And it's weird to say, like, her first episode, she like arranges a terrorist bombing and it tries to assassinate someone. Of course she's a villain. There's something very personal and very vicious and awful about the things she does this season. She gets Barile killed. Not only killed, she kills him for her own gain at the expense of his life. Unnecessarily, completely. Because not only does she want to
How do we
succeed,
not pick life support as a best?
because there's a lot of good episodes in this season.
I mean, I feel like 50% of our conversation tonight has been life support. We haven't had either of our bests.
Again, embarrassment of riches. And then like Shakar, like straight megalomaniacal move to go to Kira, while she's mourning Barile again, a man who is dead because of her, and says, "Oh, by the way, I'm your boss now, and I'm going to just rub it in deep. I'm gonna discredit your grief. I'm gonna cause you shit with the fact that you have to answer to me, and for my next trick, I'm gonna make you go down and force the hand of your best terrorist friends. And I'm gonna do it because either one of two things are gonna happen. You're gonna succeed and be my tool and my puppet, and that's fine. Or you're not, and I'm going to get to destroy you forever." Like, you rarely get an antagonist who does shit like that, particularly on Trek. So, for me, it was just unbelievable, fantastic work. Naga's second place, because he really had an arc, obviously, here. He became a real character, and there's a lot more to come with him, and I just really appreciate like where that started and how, like, good it is. With Jake in third, I felt like Jake had a great season. I feel like, civil defense, him finding dirt, burying his face in his Marta's tits, and then going on his camping trip, on the space camping trip with his dad, and just having great moments between the two of them. Like, Jake's a good character, and he's well used in this season.
I went with Debbie Dapapopoulos, Queen of the Shapeshifters. The Heart of Stone is just too good, the way that she works Odo through that entire thing.
Yeah.
And really the bigger Odo story there, her role within it, her willingness to exploit him, to know him better than himself, and to basically now know Batman's true identity through that, and know that she's going to do nothing but the worst things with it. And
yeah.
create hopefully a feeling of dread and paranoia in Odo that'll resurface later in the series. But I mean, almost everybody in here is phenomenal, and a lot of I feel like the noms here are just potential that's going to pop off later.
Now we'll turn to things that are a little bit more one shot. So this is not characters that typically reappear. It's just the classic guest star, which, you know, we decided deserves its own laurels because, you know, otherwise, if you don't separate them out, they're going to get crowded out by the
Sure.
Kai Wins of the world. But at the same time, they just pulled such a ringer this season that it was an easy choice. How do you beat Tom Riker as a one-shot character? You get to bring in, you know, you get to bring in an actor you know is going to deliver a fantastic performance, and ask him like, "Hey, John Frakes, do you want to explore this idea of this alternate version of your iconic character?"
And do you want to texture him to a degree that we should be going back to touch this more?
Yeah, like that he feels like a very different person,
Yeah.
and very interesting and very worthy of your time. Kind of cheating to have your one shot be played by a regular actor playing an alternate version of a regular character from the most beloved Star Trek show.
Cool ass character too, man.
Yeah, but he's clearly the best one shot.
He got an action figure.
He did.
I was gonna go with Leggett D'Amour.
Gamora, yeah.
Just a phenomenal character with a great story, and you know, you've mentioned that he's going to pop back up again, which kind of excludes him from this. My best one-shot character is the VR Garrick from The Search, who is
not Garrick,
a native program in this VR interrogation chamber where the Dominion is running PSYOP mind games to get the numbers on how the Federation will act under duress. And this NPC asset they control basically goes to the players. The main cast is like, yo, fuck this.
You were being manipulated. It's like a Moriarty episode, except it helps the good guys.
Yeah. Like,
you know, like Moriarty is like the AI hologram version of Garrick becomes too much like Garrick and asserts his sentience.
I fight
It's
for
like,
the users.
Yeah, break out of this simulation, boys.
This is bullshit. Let's take everything off the rails.
The real Garrick wouldn't stand for this, and neither will I.
Yeah, VR Garrick all the way.
But no, Leggett D'Amour, like,
He can go live with VR Seska from Murder
Not-
Coworker Simulator.
and not Seska, who was also in this episode. Not Seska was a possible choice for this, but I just not enough there. I like Leggett D'Amour as an option here. Again, he does pop up later, but he's worthy of talking about. Like, he's the first Cardassian of like stature that we've met that isn't an asshole.
Well,
And-
listen, he's the first Cardassian period. Well, no, those
The duet
Cardassian science
Scientists.
broads, they were good.
they were great, but like he's a Cardassian of stature, right? He's a high rank. He's a Leggett, and he clearly like that matters to his interaction with Kira ultimately, of her realizing it's not just, oh, I can make peace with, you know, the guy who showed up to sacrifice himself by impersonating someone else, or I can get along with Quark's Cardassian rebel girlfriend or the scientist or whatever.
Sure.
No, like there's complex people up and down the Cardassian chain, and I need to really think about what I'm doing and how I'm doing it. And he's a good grandfatherly figure, and he's well executed. Weakest shit, Peter. This is our favorite, our fan favorite, our most important, I think, award that we give, our most unique. This is, again, if you're just joining us because we picked up so many new fans this season, Weakest Shit Award came from our review of, I think it was season 1 of Voyager.
Eye of the Needle.
No, it was the
Jetrell.
the Oppenheimer episode,
Jetrell.
Jetrell, when they go to Talax and the moon that got nuked, and the guy who created the nuke wants to like resurrect everybody. And it looks like his plan would work if Voyager would just like try harder for 10 minutes.
Give it more than 36 seconds worth of effort.
And then they just don't and say it won't work. And it was like, and you said, what is this weak shit?
Yeah.
And we've handed out an award to describe the biggest plot failure of the season. Of like, they just, for some reason, the plot demands you no longer put in effort, and therefore it's over. Or we just didn't bother to explain something. Or what is the weakest shit?
Lazy writing. This is the hardest season I've ever had of trying to pick a weakest shit award.
Interesting. I did not find it hard. I didn't find it hard because the glaring examples that existed were so few. But they were big. Like, this is stupid. That was definitely weakest shit material. We even had one on the last episode of like, why did no one shoot this changeling? Pretty obvious like plot hole.
They're quick, man. They're
But
goopy, but they're quick.
you have one here that I think is worthy of consideration.
I got two. First, and it's a minor grievance, but the faster than lumber, the FTL.
Yeah, the FTL. Yeah.
Ben Sisko builds a sailing ship A by himself
B with wood.
with wood that survives warp speed. Like, again, I see the story they're going for, this romantic portrayal. It's ridiculous. I'm right there with the Cardassians hating on this shit. Again, have O'Brien get involved. Have the entire crew help him put this thing together. Have some sort of plot spackle there on how these things would get brought up into space. Hey, they did have a science program, but you know the prophecies said, hey, make warpless engines, and we're going to take you to great things, and trust in the
warp speed would have
prophets
Azeroth
or whatever.
Yeah.
And they did none of that. It's just this goofy idea. Someone who does not understand how outer space works wrote a script about a man who builds a sailing ship and it works in outer space. Whatever. The only real contender, and I see what yours is here, and I respect it. I don't care about these people anymore.
I understand.
Those people.
Okay, I understand.
But man, Thomas Riker, to pick that plot up in Defiant, and
To do some cool shit with
to
it.
do some amazing shit, make him a Maquis, give the Maquis this credible fucking hard hitter, let Thomas Riker behave in ways that William Riker should but can't because his hands are bound as a flagship officer.
Give Kira tons of material to work with. Have like stunning Sisko Ducat content. Great episode. Makes a lot of shit happen. Leaves a lot potentially on the table.
You end it with, we will be back for you. We will not leave you in this miserable Cardassian prison colony forever.
Lays tongue on Kira on the way out.
And then to never touch it again.
Never.
That sucks. It's not detrimental to the series. Again, this is very low in the terms of the egregiousness of what weakest shit usually represents to Star Trek. This is not Dear Doctor by a fucking long shot.
And it's like that your point is 100% valid, but I don't think it fits for the weakest shit because it's not a failure of the episode. It's a failure of the production
It
staff.
is, and that's I'm landed on. Listen, you got the weakest shit award last season for not putting in the Mirror Universe theme. All right, weakest
Okay.
shit can.
Fair enough. I did not forget it this season.
I know, and thus you are not on the contention.
Not on the
for
list.
weakest shit.
So for me, I think a more representative weakest shit is in Equilibrium, which I promised to return to at the beginning of this episode, and here we are. Because it is my weakest shit. The idea that the Trill species in their like major science directorate and their lead doctor of this entire project by which they have these symbiotes in them. Her plan is I'm going to murder Jadzia so that I can hide my big secret. I'm going to do this despite the fact, like, my species is a key member of the Federation, and this should violate every ethical precept that me and everyone around me has agreed to. But two, I'm going to do this knowing that her psychotic best friend / commanding officer, who came here on his gunship, is literally right here and is definitely not going to let this go. And this is still my plan. My plan is to murder Jadzia, to get away with hiding a secret that hiding it serves no useful purpose. Aside, like, you're trying to hide that you put the symbiote into a host that was a murderer, and that implies that anyone can have it. You could have worked around that little bit of a problem much easier if you decided that your opening move wasn't kill Jadzia. Because that blew it all up. Now Sisko's mad at you. Sisko's going to blow your shit up no matter what, because fuck you. Weak as shit.
Let me do you one better. The weakest shit can just go to Trill as a whole. None of these Trill episodes work. There's nothing about Trill that's compelling. Every view we get of Trill where we got both eyeballs on it sucks. Again, this global conspiracy for a Federation member that you are going to lie to your entire population about who can and can't have these slugs. It's, again, just something that...
The Trill are the weakest shit.
Sitting around talking about the Trill, cool concept. The Terry Farrell portraying, she started season 2 hitting this thing where it's like, I'm going to be aloof and detached and kind of timeless. I'm not going to care about my career. I'm here for experiences and a good time. That's all cool in passing by, but as soon as you try to put both hands on the Trill, it is very clearly a next generation one-shot race that they should have left on the shelf.
What we're not going to leave on the shelf is Deep Space Nine. We are excited to hit season 4. After you hear this rip, you're going to hear us actually doing homework, getting ready for bringing in Worf. We've already actually recorded that, and we'll be hitting Way of the Warrior soon. So thanks to all of you that have tuned in, that have joined us on this vile visit to Bajor, and we will see you all next season.